The beginning of a third trilogy. So can they do it for a third time? Well, maybe 2.5 times? Well, let's find out. Ha! New effects pack, bitches! Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, follows an all-new set of characters with a few returning favorites, as we pick up 20 or 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Not really clear on the timeline, it doesn't really say, but you're led to believe it's about 20 to 30 years after that. This time around, our heroes aren't the rebels, but they are part of the Resistance, who are going up against the Empire-like First Order. We are told in the beginning that the First Order is born out of the ashes of the Empire, which does explain why the New Order is very Empire-like. And what have they done? Well, they've made a big-ass planet-destroying base. Yeah, we've seen something like this before. Yep. Oh yeah, and Luke Skywalker's missing. He hadn't been seen in like a really long time. Nobody know where the hell he's at. And that's kind of a major point in the movie, is everybody's trying to find Luke so that he can come back and, I guess, kick the First Order's ass and just bring peace and balance to the universe. They really do put a lot on this guy. I kind of get why he just said fuck it and left. The Force Awakens is a wonderful return to form for Star Wars. After the prequels, which there's something to be liked there, but let's be honest, there's also a lot lacking in the prequels. The Force Awakens' great return to form makes it the most Star Wars that we've gotten since the original trilogy. You can really tell that they were doing everything they possibly could to get back to the roots of the original trilogy. And for the most part, they succeed. This is a great Star Wars movie. It's fun, exciting, and entertaining, and while it does have a familiar story that is very reminiscent of A New Hope, that's okay because its execution is done so well. Like I mentioned a moment ago, the story is very reminiscent of A New Hope. In this department, they did play it a bit safe. And while the story is familiar, it does a really good job of striking that balance between nostalgia and new world building. If you're a Star Wars fan, there's tons here to like. You're gonna get some old favorites like Han Solo, Princess Leia, R2-D2, and C-3PO coming back to the screen for the first time in years. But at the same time, the movie does a great job of passing that torch on to its new characters, Rey, Finn, and Poe. And all these new characters are fun, likable, and have great chemistry together, reminiscent of that of Han, Luke, and Leia in the original trilogy. The performances from old and new are great all around. They bring back that Star Wars sense of fun that the original trilogy had, and it seems like everybody on screen is having a fantastic time being in a Star Wars movie. After the dull performances in the prequels, this is a breath of fresh air for the Star Wars franchise. All the characters are pretty fun here, though Rey, which I guess would be our main character, isn't nearly as fleshed out as everybody else. Now I get that that's kind of the angle they were going for. They wanted to have a bit of mystique about her and not really know much of what's going on there that we would find out in the later movies. But either way, while I did enjoy her character and I thought Daisy Ridley did a really good job, I felt like they could have expanded on her a little bit more. As it stands, her character's just kind of there for shit to happen to. Now, while Rey may not be as fleshed out as I'd like, one new character they did a phenomenal job of fleshing out would be the new villain, Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the absolute best Star Wars villain we've gotten since Darth Vader. And that is high praise. Ren is an awesome villain and a great successor to Vader. His character is one of the most fleshed out and interesting characters in the entire movie. And Adam Driver does a phenomenal job of portraying the conflict within Kylo Ren. While they're talking about making all these solo Star Wars character movies, they ought to just make one about Kylo Ren because this character is fucking awesome. The special effects are top notch. Everything, and I mean everything here looks great. And they used a lot more practical effects than most movies nowadays do. This definitely led to a more believable world overall. Now, even though there's a lot of practical effects here, they used a lot of CGI, and it all looks fantastic as well. It doesn't ever feel like they went overboard with the CGI like the prequels did. It all feels as if it's necessary in the scenes that it's in. Overall, definitely some of the best effects in the whole entire franchise. The score by, once again, John Williams is of course wonderful. Like the story, it's very reminiscent of the original trilogy. There are new pieces here, but I would have liked to have seen it expanded upon just a little bit more. But once again, much like the story, they played it a little safe here. Overall, the story is really fun and does a great job of setting up new threads for future entries. I do wish Luke was in it a bit more, but that just goes to make his final reveal all that much more sweet. This movie's pretty damn close to perfect as far as Star Wars movies go. It plays it a bit safe, and it does have some inconsistencies, but it moves at such a great pace that you don't even have time to think about those issues. Really though, why did Leia hug Rey at the end? They'd met like one time for just a few minutes. They didn't really have much of a connection there. You know who she did have a connection with, especially with this particular situation that the hugging was all going on for? Fucking Chewbacca, and he was right there! Shit, man, first the medal, now this. This guy can't catch a break. Yes, the movie does have some inconsistencies, but much like A New Hope, everything else outweighs these issues. And while it's not a perfect film, it is pretty damn close to a perfect Star Wars movie, and that's why I say that Star Wars The Force Awakens is absolutely a unicorn. This movie is fucking awesome. Regardless of what people say about its sequels, this one is great and absolutely deserves your time. So if you're one of the few people that haven't seen it, go watch it right now. So there it is, guys, my review of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Man, these Star Wars movies got the longest fucking titles in history. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, may the Force be with you, and I'll see you guys next time.
Chewie, we're home.
So 2 more to go in my Star Wars review series, and with such a great start to this new trilogy, I'm sure the next one is going to be awesome and everybody will love it.